Welcome to the Rent to Rent Success podcast, the only podcast entirely dedicated to helping you achieve rent to rent success. We talk about the ethical way to get you started in property without buying it. This is our place to inspire each other to believe bigger, to be bolder, and to be game changers for good. Property investors and sisters Stephanie and Nicky Taylor are your guides on this exciting ride. Let's start up the engines and get ready to fly. Hello, 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 and welcome to Ask the Angels number 46, a fantastic episode. Those of you watching on our website will see I have an amazing visitor guest with me today, another expert here to help me answer one of your rent to rent questions. Now, if you love these episodes, and I know many of you do, and you want to ask your own question, go to renttoRentSuccess.com/ask, and you can ask your question for me to answer here, just like Dave did. Now, Dave's question is, I've heard that it's worth getting 3D videos for HMOs, but is it worth it for a rent to rent? And that's a great question. Do you know what? I have wondered this myself. I've seen people with these amazing 3D videos, and I've thought it must be super expensive. So I have brought in today Iain Drudy from Pitch My Space, and he is a creator of virtual experiences. And we're going to talk to him and find out more about what that exactly means and how it could be incredible for your rent-to-rent business. Welcome to the show, Iain Drudy.
Thanks so much for inviting me.
Yes, well, Iain, first of all, I think let's find out, how on earth did you get into being a creator of virtual experiences?
Well, I was on the property journey, and I love photography, and I love showing off amazing spaces and this new cool technology that makes it feel as though you're almost in a space, walking through smooth and seamlessly. It was just a no-brainer to help link up showing people's places off with movements I was doing on the property journey.
Yeah. Well, we've had a little chat and I've been very excited. So what you do, what we say within the rent to rent success system is that one of the critical elements of getting this right for rent to rent is having incredible photos of your property when it's newly refurbished. All the furniture is there, all the dressing is there. It looks amazing. It's to get professional photos. And we've also started getting professional videos. So each video will be all the communal areas plus the bedroom. But what you're talking about is really taking things to the next level. So let me ask you, Iain, what do you do for people and why should I be interested in it?
Well, we save them time and we save them money, and we boost their audience engagement in a nutshell. So I can explain a little bit more. Not all virtual tours are created equal, and our product is based on the Matterport system, which is the smoothest, really feels as though you're there. So you don't have to waste as much time filtering potential tenants, and they can choose themselves and really decide if they like the feel of your property without having to use up any of your time. So you get a much more filtered down list of prospective tenants. And of course, they get the wow factor because it just speaks to your quality. If you've got a good looking property, you can get that out immediately and they can be immersed within it. Then they spend more time on your website because all the time they're spending walking around, looking at your highlights, your features. If you have the interactive menu option, there's a lot more involvement of your virtual visitor with your brand, and we can put your brand in within the live 3D virtual tour of your property.
I love it. I mean, I'm a fan of these things. I've used them when I've been looking for properties to buy, and I just love walking around and doing it. Some of them are a bit clunky, but I know from what we talked about earlier that it's a very smooth experience. And do you know what? I was surprised at how value for money this offering is that you provide. So let's just talk about, it's not only good It saves you money in terms of you have fewer voids. It's so much easier for you to do a viewing because you can send them this bit of kit. They can check it out, as you said. So for tenants, it's good for keeping your rooms. I think it raises the value in a new potential housemate's mind of what your property is, what standards you have, and what to expect. And maybe somebody who was thinking of not paying the rent would think, you know what, I'll skip this one because this landlord's probably on the ball. So it raises the standard of your tenants. It raises the rent that you could potentially offer. And there are some other benefits as well on the back end from using these. So tell us about those.
Yeah, and well, one that just springs to mind before I get to that is, of course, it reduces some of the fear potentially because they can see every bit of the property. I mean, you can choose not to capture bits if you really don't want to on the 3D model, but essentially, they can walk around the 2 communal bathrooms. They can see and sit at the dining table virtually, and they can see in all the other tenants' bedrooms without, imposing on their privacy. So they really do get to reduce their fear and build their confidence in what your product is. But yeah, the back end benefits, inventory, it's a no-brainer. It's an absolute perfect carbon copy replica of what you've got built. So for inventory purposes, you've got what it looks like from day one, and of course you can use that to do viewings while it's partly tenanted. You can show a room that's occupied before it becomes free. Then for work with your builder, we can also do a capture pre-refurb if required, and you can liaise with the builder on various areas of the property. You can use hyperlinks to teleport people to specific locations. So if you want to send something to your electrician and say, look, it's these 2 locations where we would like the plugs fitting, you can just send them a link and they arrive in the 3D model looking at that plug that you've wanting fixing. Also, on the back end, you can have a replica model that you can use for your own maintenance purposes. So if you want to put your boiler repair documents or keep a note of, it was that downstairs bathroom window that was leaking and Joe Blogg's builder came and did this kind of work and it cost this much, you can just tag all that information physically in your non-public version of your 3D model. So there's all sorts of back-end benefits. And then some extra front-end ones like the video calling I can get onto in a moment if you want.
Yeah, and I just want to call out that I'm guessing you can just give people parts of it. So, for example, if I have advertised room 1, which I know you name them, we'll come on to that in a moment. If I have advertised room 1 and all of my other rooms are taken up, but I actually don't want to show the potential tenant all of the rooms because they're not available. And people, especially if the room 1's a smaller room than some of them, I might just want to show them room 1 and the communal areas. And so can one do that as well, Iain?
You can, although it would not have to be on the public version. So if you decided you wanted it not to be public and you kind of just had it private, then we can knock off the pucks that people can walk to on in the other rooms, so they can actually access them. On the 3D model, which is lower definition, they can still be seen, but the actual walkthrough we can make it so people cannot navigate into certain areas.
Okay, and that might be too much for a lot of people, but what I love about this 3D model as well is taking it beyond rent to rent. Because rent to rent, you're really talking about you're working with, you can show potential landlords, you can show potential letting agents, you can show potential tenants, as we've talked about. You can use it with your contractors and your own team to look at the different properties. But where I think it really comes into its own is you can show it to lenders and refinancers and people who do not have very good imaginations and always want to be conservative because they want to protect their investments. And having something like this, I think, adds the real wow factor.
Yes. to attract investment. They can really experience what your product is.
Yes. Yeah. So I think there's all sorts of different uses. And I think people will be getting curious now as to what kind of investment you would need to make to get this sort of thing for the average HMO is a 5-bed, but a 5 or 6-bed. How much would you charge, Iain, for your Matterport system?
Yeah, £399 for the capture, up to 5 or 6 bedrooms, and then there's a small annual hosting fee on top of that. And from within that product, you get the really smooth walkthrough, some interactive tags, where you can embed videos, photos, specifications, things like that. You get that cool 3D model where you can zoom out of the whole house like a doll's house and spin it around. Yeah. And I do some basic 2D still photography with that as well. And then there's a few little optional extras. If you want a video file making, there's an automated walk through the 3D model we can do, where people can just press play and it takes them through. And then there's the extra things like virtual staging we can put on there, into a video calling where you can schedule to meet a tenant within the virtual space. It's all managed by the software. They can just click to see the available slots and book an appointment with you, and then you both appear. It's like a Zoom meeting, but in the virtual house, and you can wander around together, or they can be let off to wander, and then you press a button to bring them back to you. And also, my favourite is this interactive menu where you can really, if it's like I'm just in a cool co-living space in Birmingham, and if you're trying to give that vibe of more of an experiential space, you can, on that menu, can have various sections, such as the vibes that you're trying to create, relaxing vibe, communal vibe, co-working vibe. People can click to visit those, and also highlights such as lockable doors, ample kitchen storage, double ovens, double fridge freezers, or whatever you've gone the extra mile to create. It's there in front of them on entry into the 3D space on the menu, so they can't miss it. Basically, and they can just press a button on the menu and it teleports them, so they're looking directly at whatever that highlight is.
This is amazing, isn't it? I have put your website up, pitchmyspace.com. This episode is exceeding all expectation because I'm loving this. You can teleport yourself, and then I can be on a Zoom with you in the same house, and we can be talking in the same house, and I can go and look around the house, and then I can come back and talk to you. So it's phenomenal, isn't it?
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Yeah. So and so affordable, guys. If you have properties that you want to do this on, what areas at the moment do you cover?
Well, now I cover the whole UK.
Wow. So, guys, if you have an HMO coming up, or even other types of properties, because you may need this for your business or your work, apart from your rent-to-rent business, you may have other businesses. Give us an example of some of the businesses that you work for and the things that you've done for them, Iain.
So I've just done the London Tea Exchange, which is a really high-end tea aficionados location, where this guy's spent 20 or 30 years collecting the best 200 teas from around the world, and you go in, you can have a cup of tea, but it's more his global audience, and we want to create an actually immersive experience. Of course, you can just go and buy. It's a virtual retail store. We can buy the 300 teas, but we want to make it more of a learning, so people who love tea get more of a quiz experience based on a virtual model of the tea exchange building itself. And so it's going to make a deeper engagement. That's one use. And then the second one is franchising this business out globally. So, they're going to do whatever tea exchange Mumbai, and to train his new franchisees, it's going to be a training platform where you say, look, this is the London Tea Exchange. if you're going to make one in Mumbai, it's going to, look like this. In this area, you would do this with a customer. In this area, you do that. So yeah, it's endless, really.
Yeah, I love that. But there are so many uses. I mean, it's going to be so phenomenal in this business, the HMO business and the rent-to-rent business. And I just encourage you, and indeed the wider property business, for those of you doing service accommodation, it's also amazing. One of the things that we did touch on is normally we assume, as I did, that everything has to be furnished and complete to make the most out of a Matterport 3D video. And that is the case. But Iain did say today that if you've got an unfurnished place, you can dress it digitally, i.e. you can add digital furniture using this system. So Iain, fill us in on that one.
Yes, so specifically using the smooth Matterport model that we use for most of our clients, we can now virtually stage the Matterport. It's not a crazy big library of furniture yet because it's quite a new release, but we can, if it's an empty furnished property, we can add furniture. If it is a property that doesn't exist yet, we can now create that within Matterport by using CGI 360-degree panoramas. So if you've got a building that doesn't exist yet and you want a Matterport walkthrough model with all the enhanced menus and things we can put on top, like already mentioned, we need just a floor plan and a taste of what interior you would like, and then we can create 3 or 4 CGIs per room or more depending on the size of the room, and we can upload those, and the AI within the system guesses the depth data and can create a 3D model and stitch it all together. So it's really cool. So there's kind of 2 levels of the building that doesn't exist and the staging of an existing furnished building.
Unfurnished.
So it's furnished. Oh, sorry, unfurnished building. What we can't do is if we do a pre-refurb capture, we can't really paint the walls and do an extensive refurb on that. We would have to go the CGI route for something that needs a full refurb.
Okay, so to summarize, this is what blows my mind is that what Iain can do is, from a floor plan and some images of what you want the interiors to look like, he can create that into a 3D model. So that sounds like it would be something that's incredible for developers. When you are there with this, either you've got nothing there because it's going to be a new build, or you've got an existing building there and you want to say to the development financiers or to your private investors or to a mortgage company who is lending on the first purchase, this is what we're going to do. And it doesn't require any imagination on their parts because they've got it all in front of them in a 3D model, for heaven's sakes. Yeah. I think that is a game changer. So there's so many reasons to want to contact Iain. I sound like I'm on commission, but I'm honestly not. I'm just blown away by what Iain is doing and how it could help us all. Iain, we've just completed, I mentioned it, a 4-flat conversion. And so we were going to get that because we're letting it unfurnished. We were just going to get digital dressing of the photographs. But what I'm talking to you about now is doing a Matterport 3D video and having the digital dressing with that. So I would look forward to collaborating on that.
Yes, definitely.
Let me tell people also, Iain is on the Instagram at pitchmyspace.com. Sorry, not pitchmyspace.com. At pitchmyspace is Iain's Instagram handle. You know me, I'm at Stephanie T Property. If you're not following me yet, why not? What is wrong with y'all? Also follow Richard while you're over there, and check him out at Pitch My Space. Am I calling you Richard again?
Yeah, don't worry.
I've done this on the last 2 episodes. I do not know what is wrong with me. I just pick a random name. Last time I was calling Evie Ruby. I honestly don't know. But Iain, it's been a pleasure and a delight just meeting you and talking to you about what you're doing. I think you've created something really special here. And as I say, it's incredible value for all property investors. Is there anything I haven't asked you yet that you think, oh, if only I need to let people know this? Just let us know what it is.
Well, just any creative ideas. It's like an endless canvas. Even influencers are now, we're capturing their homes, as part of their brand, personal brand as an influencer, because people can, look around at their property. So that really excites me about going into that kind of space as well. So yeah, I'd just love to hear from people of creative ideas on where we can go with this. I just did a boatyard last week on the South Coast, and that's going to be really cool. So yeah, just send us ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. So you know where to get in touch with Iain at pitchmyspace.com and at pitchmyspace on Instagram and also on Facebook. So use it for your rent-to-rent properties. It's a way to decrease your voids, increase the value that tenants perceive, and get you a higher quality of tenants. Again, as Iain mentioned, you can use it behind the scenes with communicating with your team and going to specific spots within the building. So you might use it for maintenance. Also, it's a great way to capture for inventory. No one can argue with a 3D video model. So thank you so much for joining us today, Iain. It's been a pleasure to have you with us.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure being here. Thank you for inviting me.
Brilliant. And thank you for joining us and for watching and for listening. I will see you again in the next episode. Remember, in the meantime, if you want to ask a question, rent2rentsuccess.com/ask. And also, if you want to get the 6-step, the free Rent to Rent Success Masterclass and Guide, it's rent2rentsuccess.com/guide, GUIDE. And there's a lot of juicy goodness in there. Okay. See you all again next time. Bye for now. Thank you so much for being with me here today. If you would like more, we've written the #1 best-selling book on rent to rent. You can find it at rent2rentsuccess.com/book. Reviewers on Amazon have described it as the best rent-to-rent HMO book and also as a definitive reference guide and inspirational. Take your next step today and buy the book. You can find it at rent2rentsuccess.com/book. And I'll see you again next time. Until then, remember, believe bigger, be bolder, be a game changer.